Good evening, everybody. I'm Officer Brush with Officer Brush Talks About Stuff, and I am here with Galen McCown. I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself now.
Hi, everybody. I'm Galen McCown, game designer out of Syracuse, New York, amongst other things. Pleasure to be here.
All right. And so today we're here to kind of talk about your upcoming game, Super Snipers. They just got to watch the trailer for that. And so why don't you just go ahead and tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So Super Snipers is a 1 to 2 player head-to-head dueling sniper game that uses a familiar Tetris mechanic in a novel and exciting way. It's got two ways to play the main 2-player mode. You can play it with simultaneous turns in dual mode, which we'll demonstrate a little bit later today. And it also has a semi-real-time mode called Quick Draw, where you play turns on a 10-second timer. Additionally, has a solo mode with a automa, so that which simulates the 2-player mode, and then an additional hostage rescue mode, which is a really tough real-time mode where you're taking on 2 snipers in a hostage situation at the same time. So yeah, it's a polyomino game, asymmetric player powers, really fast, really simple, and from what I'm told, a lot of fun.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about Galen Games. How did that come about? What made you decide to start designing games and all that kind of stuff?
Sure, man. I think I don't know. My story might be familiar to a lot of people. I had started out just being a gamer, and really getting into it. And honestly, it'll sound weird, but I had really wanted to design a good solo game. I'd fallen in love with Mage Knight originally, and I wanted something that felt like that had that kind of depth, but didn't take 4 to 5 hours to play every time. And so the first game I ever started designing was a game called Infiltrators, which one of these days I will still bring to market or pitch or do something with. It's still a fun game. But that's where I started, and then two things happened. My wife had my second daughter in January 2020, and so I had some family leave off of work, and also when I got back to work in March, the pandemic hit, and so those two things together kind of opened up some time for me to pursue game design a little bit more seriously. I looked up podcasts. I ran into the Board Game Design Lab podcast, which was life changing for me. That was really the group and Gabe, that was the place where I really started digging in and kind of understanding everything there has to do with this world. I ran into, Tabletop Simulator. I learned my way around that. I learned, as I call it, graphic design 101, so that I was able to kind of make things within Tabletop Simulator and in real life for other people to play, and had a lot of fun. And then Super Snipers, came about. I wanted to design a game for one of the Game Crafter contests, the solo duo contest that Gabe was running. And I ran into my artist, Hwa Siang. He was kind of advertising on the forums that he was willing to help people out, do art. And so we teamed up for that. And I entered Cardboard Edison along the way, and it became a finalist in that, and then a semi-finalist in the Game Crafter contest. And I guess I just started to take my design seriously, and I fell in love with it enough that I didn't want to pitch it, and I wanted to see it come to fruition. So that was the origin of Galen's Games.
Okay. And so you kind of mentioned your first game, but the Infiltrators, but this isn't the first game that you've actually designed. Super Snipers is kind of the culmination of your experience, right?
I would say that's absolutely true. There are certainly games I started designing after I started Super Snipers, but this is the furthest I've ever taken anything. This is the most complete game I have. I have a couple other games that I did a solo design for John DeCampos, who is the Terrible Games designer of Token Terrors, and so I designed a solo game from him. That's officially my first published one. I've got another design right now with a co-designer that's under contract with a publisher. So there's a few things going on, but this is, I would say this is the representation of, the best of my design ability.
Okay. And so what you talked about, you wanted to have a solo game, but you also just kind of started falling in love with this game design. What would you say your favorite polyomino style game was that kind of helped say, this is why I want to make this kind of game?
It's such a great question. I have to be completely honest. Before I really got really far into designing this game, I hadn't played very many polyomino games. Tetris was honestly, the reference point. And then I started digging into, some of the polyomino games that are out there. I got to say, Patchwork, I think, is kind of a perfect game. I think it's really, really amazing. And it fills that kind of built for two players spot. But yeah, I was honestly Tetris was my only reference point.
Yeah.
And the original idea for Super Snipers, the polyominoes weren't even necessarily in there in the beginning. I had more of kind of a hidden movement game, and then as I was thinking of all these different ways with transparent cards, or like actually having to draw a line of sight through 3D buildings to kind of
Hmm.
figure out whether you had successfully targeted someone or not. The idea came to me of like, oh, what if we actually laid down tiles to do that, and I just flew with it from there.
And when we play the game in a little bit, they'll kind of see how the Tetris inspired the layout on the actual board. But we can also talk a little bit about what is the theme of Super Snipers.
Sure. So it's a post-apocalyptic theme. It takes place in the year 2484, and the idea is Earth's surface has been rendered basically uninhabitable, a large portion of it. And surviving nomadic factions, and the super snipers are these cybernetically and genetically enhanced super soldiers, relics from the last great war, that now kind of make their livings as mercenaries. So the setting for the game is that in this case you and I are working for opposing factions, and we've been sent out to take one another out, because once we do that, whoever has the super sniper basically rules the land. There is backstory, intertwining backstories. I talk about it. I mean, the style of the game is very kind of 90s, 2000s arcade. There's very much kind of like a Street Fighter style, character backstories, the way they intertwine, why, we might be fighting each other, why we might not want to be fighting each other, but we are anyways, that kind of thing.
Okay. So this project is coming to Kickstarter. I believe you said it's coming to Kickstarter on the 18th. What all can
Yep.
they expect from that actual project?
Glad you asked. Yeah, so it is kicking off on the 18th, which is a week from Tuesday, which seems crazy. Very stressful time. So, yeah. Um, so from the project itself, I'm a first time creator on Kickstarter. I have tried to become as much of a student of the art as possible. I've got a lot of good help, a lot of professionals working with me. I do want to keep it simple. I'm basically bringing a single game to Kickstarter that I want to make better through the stretch goals. That's basically it. There are going to be a couple different pledge levels. I am doing something interesting that I saw Bez Shahari do. Shahiri might be. I might have mispronounced that. But I'm going to have a limited number pledge level for a lower cost for people who can't, whatever, for whatever reason, couldn't swing the game but really like the game. And I'm going to
Yeah.
give other people when they pledge the option of adding a little bit more in, getting a free sticker set, and kind of help subsidize more of those. So we'll see how it works. It's an experiment. I'm putting 10 up at the lower cost for now, so we'll see how that goes. As far as the Kickstarter itself, the things I want to add, I have more characters in the wings. I have more locations in the wings, and I have some component upgrades that I would really like to be able to do in terms of moving some things from cardboard to acrylic. And that is about the extent of it. And I've got a couple of ideas of some ongoing things, kind of a puzzle, weekly puzzle for backers to play, as well as a tournament that I'm going to be putting together. So there'll be things going on all month long as I do that.
Okay. So you really have a lot of things that you have planned for the game. The actual Kickstarter is one to produce the game, but it's also just to kind of improve the quality of life components inside of it. Um, how much work
Absolutely.
did how much work do you think went behind the scenes where it came to play testing, all that kind of stuff, to make sure that when you actually launched your product, that it was pretty much ready to go, and now you just need the other backers to help you bring it to life?
Yeah. So I've been, this game has been around for about 2.5 years. I have play tested. I haven't kept the exact count. It's probably around 150 times that I've personally been involved in. So a lot of different play tests, a lot of in person, making sure, because that's important. I think the pandemic, Tabletop Simulator is amazing. It allows you to iterate really quickly, allows you to play test with people all over the world, and that has been wonderful. But you always have to remember to play the game in the physical world too, or you'll miss out on some ergonomics or things that don't work quite as well. And so there's been plenty of that. I brought it to a local convention 2 years running. I had it blind play tested by the Players Lair folks a few times along the way, just to make sure, kind of sanity check, everything works.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So a ton of work into that. I've also, paid for consultation from professional designers. I used Jonathan Gilmore at one point to come in and play the game, and he gave me the all clear. I had it. So that felt pretty good. I was expecting at least some feedback that I didn't, but he was like, "No, you've got it," and he had some wonderful suggestions for what the Kickstarter could do for the game.
Yeah. Okay. And let's kind of talk about how you compacted everything into this one game. Essentially, right now I have some screens up of some of the images of the game itself. Why don't you go ahead and just kind of talk about why you designed it to be the head-to-head style that you did?
Sure. I think first of all, you we all ultimately design for ourselves. I almost, especially since the pandemic, almost exclusively play two-player games. I love other player counts, but honestly, it's usually myself and either my wife or my sister, and that's it. And so, a good head-to-head game, where a couple things. A good head-to-head game that has some excitement, that plays pretty quickly, isn't too difficult to get to the table, and then also that you feel is fair, that leaves you with that feeling of, I either just won or I just lost, and I know what I can do next time. Those are the games that make it the most of my table, and that's what I wanted to make. So that's why it's a head-to-head game. You know the game itself, and people see when we play it on Tabletop Simulator. I definitely I got to give props to my play testers for helping me come up with this. The way it looks, where it's that absolutely kind of like mirror image symmetry between the two of you, and the way the ergonomics of the game actually plays from the middle back
Hmm.
towards your scope board. The more you advance, the closer you kind of like your play area moves towards yourself. That was kind of a major moment in the game's development, and it gives it a really unique look on the table, and it also just has a very logical ease of play, and it really adds to the theme too, where you feel
Yeah.
like you are just slowly honing in on making that kill until you place that last piece.
Okay. And so that's a good word. You used the word honing in on somebody, and
Hmm.
your goal in this was, one, you didn't want to make it one-sided. Um, and I
Yep.
feel like from watching some of the other playthroughs and just understanding how the rules work, that it is very much one of those things that just because somebody managed to score the first round, the game is not over. It is still very much a game of skill, and you have to actually work towards that goal. It's not something that's just going to happen. You actually have to plan your route. You choose which place you're going to hide them at, and then hopefully the other person chooses the wrong one.
Yep.
And you made this in a way that not only can it be taken as a one person, they both finish their turns and then let each other know that they're ready, but you wanted to add more to that. Was that the community that wanted the 10-second timer added to it?
So I very early on, yes and no. I mean, it's interesting, right? I very early on loved the idea of the game being real time, and I think I was originally going towards that. What had happened along the way was that I realized that the game I was creating, there's no way you could just start playing real time. You have
Mm-hmm.
to kind of know the game before that would be possible. And along the way, it's been fascinating because you'll often, as a game designer, you'll hear advice, and I'm telling you, it's good advice, but I'll also explain why I ignored it. That you really want to pick what your game is, right? You want to put your best foot forward. You want to say, this is the game, you play simultaneous turns and that's the game and that's how you play, or you want to say this is real time and this is how you're supposed to play the game. And and people have strong feelings about that, but the thing was, it was always 50-50. People had very strong feelings both ways, and so and that also happened with the Cardboard Edison judges, that it was literally down the middle of people who said, I played both modes, and the real game is the simultaneous turns. That's what you need to focus on. Then the next judge would be like, I played it both ways. Simultaneous turns was okay, but holy shit, real time is what you're supposed to be doing, right? Like
Yeah.
this is where the game is. And so I ended up keeping both modes, and really streamlining the teach, so that when you learn the quick draw, or sorry, the dual mode, which is simultaneous turns, you automatically know how to play real time. The only addition is, instead of waiting for your opponent to finish their turn, you have a 10-second timer. You play your piece, and when that timer is up and you've played your piece, you can take your next turn. So you can take longer if you want, but your opponent might get ahead of you. It also makes it, because it's not fully real time and it is on that 10 seconds. It's about quick thinking. It's not about dexterity, which was important to me as well.
So you wanted this game to be approachable from many different aspects, but you wanted to keep that competitiveness there. What were some of the challenges overall that you kind of faced when you were designing this game and designing games in general? I know that it is not an easy process for somebody to go through that initial concept stage to actually taking it to the point where you're ready to let others try it.
Yeah, I think you'll have to let me know if I answer your question correctly here. I mean, I think I had gotten over that hump of, by the time I was designing Super Snipers, I understood the whole fail faster thing. I had gotten past that hump with some other games, of that idea of like, oh, I have to wait till it's perfect. I want to make sure you have fun. And
Yeah.
I not that I don't care about that. I care about that very much, but I don't care about that in the early stages of the game. I just want to see what works. So luckily, I'd had a little bit of experience at that point. In terms of kind of what were the hard points to get over, I think even at the point with Cardboard Edison, the hiding phase was really just about luck for the longest time. It seemed fun to me. I really liked it, but I didn't really. Two things had happened. I didn't give you a reason to hide at one place instead of another, and it just felt like bad luck if you didn't find me first and I found you quickly. And so this was one of the places where I really kind of worked on. I have catch-up mechanisms within the rounds, and I have catch-up mechanisms with outside of the rounds. And so within the rounds, I added these little surveillance squares. So as long as you're kind of strategic, and it makes the puzzle more interesting too. If you're covering these tiles with the right color, we call the polyomino's focus. If you cover it with the right focus, then you're earning an extra piece that when you do find me, you're going to be able to place all those pieces right away. So there's this thing where it might be taking you longer to find me, but as long as you're getting your surveillance, you can catch up, right? And so that was important. And a lot of it was about, like I said, delivering that, those really tight games, but not making it, you can win any round. When you do win, it's usually by one piece. But the game has been tuned that over more than 150 games, they're almost always 3-2, occasionally 3-1, almost never ever 3-0.
Wow,
and that's just and I'm happy about that. I like that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get one last thing of where can they go real quick to look at the project now and kind of learn some more information about it, and then we're going to go ahead and transition to getting the game started, and we'll go ahead and play. And as we're playing, you can describe some more things, maybe some quality of life changes and things like that.
Sure. So I'm sure we'll put the link up. You can obviously follow along at the Kickstarter pre-launch page. I have a website, www.galensgames.com. And I have pretty much everything you'd want to know about Super Snipers there. I've got to update it with review videos and such, but I'll keep that updated there. And I'll have all the links and kind of description of gameplay and all that good stuff. I think that's the best place to go.
Okay. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to transition over to the Tabletop Simulator now. And we're going to go ahead and we'll get started on that. I have, I'm on my side, I'm green. You're going to be red. So let's talk a little bit about, just go ahead and describe the whole layout and stuff like that.
Sure. So actually, it might be easiest if we pick our characters. That way, everything will be on the table. So in
Sure.
TTS, you'll see this. You'll see the big start button on the right side. Go ahead and click that.
Yes. Okay.
All right. And then your character screen comes up, and so you can go ahead and click on whichever character you want to be. I think first time you play, Jane and Sirius seem to be the easiest ones to kind of
Okay.
grok right away.
I will
So,
choose Jane then.
okay.
Are all the
Um,
characters the same or are they all different?
No, they're all asymmetrical, and that's easiest to kind of explain at the end of the rules, just because all the characters basically break some fundamental rule of the game, so it helps to know
Yeah.
the fundamental rules of the game to
Okay.
understand how they do that. I
Okay.
definitely want the they every character you'll look at them and you'll say, "Oh, that's broken," and I love that about games. If everything's broken, nothing is, right? So that's what I went with here. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, what you're looking at, I'm over here on your side, and I'll kind of take you through the play areas and what you're looking at. So,
Okay.
like I said, it's totally symmetrical. And so in front of you, you have your three locate grids. These are going to be where I'm going to be hiding. I'm going to be placing cards face down in front of you here, and that's
Okay.
going to, two of them are going to have. I'll just bring out yours for example here, or I'm sorry, it is mine.
Yeah.
Board. Okay,
Well, I can see
you
them
know,
down here on my hand as well. That you have two misses and you have one target located.
right, one where I am, right? And I'm gonna, as I put these out, you won't know what they are. They're just gonna have my sigil.
Yeah.
The Kickstarter version, I'm gonna go to tokens with these after lots of playtesting with cards. Cards are just a pain to pick up and flip on the table, and they get marked, and you can start. They won't work as hiding, so they're gonna be discs. But anyways, so
Okay.
yeah, so the hiding phase, like I said, everything kind of works from the middle out. So in the hiding phase, we're going to be putting these cards in front of our opponent's locations, one, two, or
Okay.
three, to kind of picking where we're hiding. And the numbers actually correspond with how difficult it's going to be to find to shoot the person there, right? So one is going to be the easiest, two is going to be a little bit harder, three is going to be the hardest. But there's a reason why you don't always hide at the most difficult location, and that'll make sense a little bit. So is it okay if I just go through the teach? Because I think we'll hit every teach as we go.
Certainly.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and click the ready button over here. Scripting in this game is all by Alexi Minardo. Anybody who wants a really nice TTS, mod, he's great. He's really easy to work with and he does good work. Okay. So that was my plug for Alexi. All right. So the hiding phase, that's it for the hiding phase. I'm just going to keep using your side for the example until we play. And so everything goes out, and then we move on to the locate phase. So
Okay.
from here on out in the game, you'll see that you've got these three polyominoes, and that's what we call focus in the game. They are the standard Tetris shapes, and they come in three different colors: gray, gold, and purple. We don't see purple out right now, but it'll show up a little bit later.
Yeah.
Thematically, it's breath and time, and then the purple is the environment. All the factors of making your sniper shot, right? And so the way your line of sight works is you're always taking the leftmost piece to place, and after you do so, these little ready discs. So we're gonna, both flip them to ready, and then you'll say, Justin, you ready? You'll say yeah, and then we'll both flip to go. And then after you're done placing your piece, you flip back to ready, and it's gonna automatically
Okay.
shift over that line of sight and repopulate. So it's just a nice little scripting thing. Obviously, in real life, that's exactly what you do, but you would have to do
Yeah.
it from the back. Okay. So our goal during this phase is we're trying to isolate the central crosshairs of these grids, right?
Okay.
And when I say isolate, what I mean is you're building a border around them so that there's like no way out of it. So I'll just do
Yeah.
kind of a quick example here. I'll talk a little bit more about the placement a bit, and then here.
So what I
I'm not.
remember is that you said that colors have to chain with each other. The first one has to start on the outside, but then any other future color has to chain with it. So if it's orange, it has to go with orange.
Correct. So yes, and that is true. And also, I could have played these to any grid. And so over here, this would be the first one that's orange on this grid. So I'd have to start on an edge, but a future one would be able to would have to connect orthogonally, but wouldn't necessarily have to start on the edge. So
Yeah.
that. So like I could do this with the next one over here. So yes,
Yeah.
exactly as you said. The first of each type has to start on the edge. Each future one has to connect orthogonally in some way. At the point that you have built that border around, and it can have, you notice there's a little diagonal here, that's absolutely fine. And there's a space in here, that's fine too. There's just a good border around it.
Yeah.
And that means that you searched it. So at any point that you've done that, and we're taking these turns one at a time, you finish, I finish, then we go again. So we're each placing one at a time. You're going to flip the card in front to determine if you got if you found them or if you got a miss.
Yeah.
The other thing, and I talked about this a little bit in the intro there, are these surveillance tiles. And so you'll notice they come in two colors, and they, two of the different colors of the focus. And so if you cover those with either of the color, you earn surveillance. So what'll happen is, say I cover it like this, I would say I'm getting surveillance, and you would go over. I don't know why it's way over here, and you would take a piece right from the bag, and you would place it. Come on, there we go. And you place it over here on the left side where it says surveillance.
Okay.
And so, like I said, this is a bit of a catch-up mechanism. You'll be able to, next phase, do find me, you'll be able to place all these on that same turn that you find me. So you'll be able to catch up with as many as 6, depending on how long it takes you to find me. So,
okay.
So that's the locate phase. The only other thing I'll bring up now, you'll see at the top of the board, you got these little recalibrate tokens, and there's a little arrow showing that location and target. For the most part, the scope board has nothing to do with the locate phase, but these ones work in either phase. And what these do is at any point, you can flip one of these, and if they get locked down, they must have. That's weird. There we go. All right. So you flip one of these, and you can take a piece that you previously placed, and you can trash it down in your discard here.
Okay.
So if you get stuck, you can get unstuck doing that. And also the other way you can use is you can discard the front from your line of sight and then refresh your line of sight so that you kind of move to a place that you want. These reset between rounds, and if you've used them both and you really need them again, you can skip a turn to reset them.
Okay.
So far, so good?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So we'll continue with an example. Let's say that you found me on 1, okay? At the point that you locate me, you're going to grab the grid that corresponds with the number. Oops, wrong one.
The number 1.
Yeah, number 1, exactly. And the graphics match up to it's kind of a zoomed in of whatever the location is. And I recommend locking it in place in TTS so you don't accidentally pick it up. And you're going to populate it. The innocents go on the innocent squares, and then my little targeting disc here goes here, so you kind of see who you're going after.
Okay.
And then you immediately get to place any surveillance. So in this case, it would be this one. It's the same rules, right? It has to start on an edge, and future pieces have to connect orthogonally to the color that's down there. Okay. So your goals during this part are you're trying to isolate the first. Actually, I shouldn't say first because it's both, but you're trying to isolate the innocents. And what that simply means is that I'll just do a quick example here. Much like above, there's a nice border around them. It cuts them off from the borders. Additionally, it has to cut them off from the primary target. Both things have to be true, right? And so in this case, this innocent would be isolated. And then the other thing that you're trying to do during this phase is close off the primary target within this kill box. So it can be tighter than the kill box. There just can't be any spaces outside of the kill box. So let's see if we can kind of do something pretty quick here. Oops, come on, guys. All right. Give me a good piece. All right, sure. There we go. All right. So this would be a complete puzzle, for example, right? The innocent is isolated. The primary target is fully within the kill box. And then the last thing you do is at the point that you've achieved that same turn, as long as you can fit your bullet over them and you can rotate it any way you need to be able to do it, you make the kill. Is that all pretty clear?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Other things that are going on, and I do have it in the rule book. You can play without bonuses and player powers this time to make it simple, and that would be the whole game. But we'll play with everything. So you'll also see these tiles, and if you cover these, much like above, if you cover them with a matching color, so gray over here, you're going to flip the corresponding bonus. I'll say really quick, there is a reference card over here. So everything I'm saying, you've got right on this reference card, and both sides kind of go, pretty much the whole game is here once you know it.
Okay.
All right, so coming back over here, I'll just go through them one at a time. So the exchange, when I talked about modern Tetris, I mean, first of all, you've got that on deck line of sight, and this is one that's also taken from Tetris. When you earn the exchange, you immediately pull a piece from your bag, you put it down here, and from now on, I know it's getting to be a mess up here. Instead of playing my next piece, I can put it down in this reserve, and I can pick this up and play this one instead, right? Yeah, go right ahead. And so that, the exchange, the exchange stays active for the whole round. So once you have this,
Okay.
those pieces, you can just keep doing that. So that opens up a little bit of room there. The other two are one-time uses. The concentrate. So normally the rule is this gray piece, for instance, if it was my next one, I would have to chain it to these, right? Because there's already gray out there.
Yeah.
Concentrate lets you break that rule. It lets you start a brand new chain with any one color. So I could do that and start a new chain over here. And then the last one, move, allows you to pick up a piece that you previously placed and then follow the placement rules and place it. Or
Okay.
you can use it to steal a piece from my line of sight and put it at the front of yours.
Okay.
Okay. And so that's what the powers do. Okay. So a couple more things and we're almost there. All right. So in this example, well, actually, maybe I'll show you what happens at the end of a round to the end. That'll be easier. But let me talk about player powers really quick. So like I said, every character breaks some fundamental rule of the game. So what I just taught you about having the leave room gets to, you can make this space as tight as you want. It can overlap, so you don't have to worry about a great beginner character that way. Additionally, at the end of a round, when one of us are shot, we're going to get what's called adrenaline, which I'll explain more. And you'll have an adrenaline power that unlocks, which gives you even more power, one additional power. So the basic powers tend to be one time, and they're always available. And adrenaline is only available after you've been shot, and they tend to be ongoing, more powerful. So for hers, she can, much like I explained how the exchange works, you can use absolutely any piece that you place during the locate phase as if it were in the exchange. So you have a lot of options to turn for. It's pretty powerful.
So, and that gets activated whenever you get shot, correct?
Yep. Yeah. The round after so every round ends with somebody getting shot. First one to shoot the other 3 times is going to be the winner. The mode we're playing, it is possible for a dual kill. We'll see if that happens or not. And the other thing really quick. So, well, I should explain this before we start. So the other things that are going to happen is the winner, wherever you were hiding. So let's say in this example, you were the winner and you were hiding on 1, right? Wherever you were hiding, it's compromised, right? We heard the shot. You can't shoot from here anymore. This location is going to be gone for the rest of the game. So that does a couple things. One, I'm going to have less places to look for you next round, part of the catch up. And also, if you did hide at the really challenging location, you can never do it again. And, quickly, the difference between the boards, you can see on 1, there's just 1 innocent. On 3, there's 3 innocents. So it's 1, 2, and 3. So they are, there's definitely a strategy to, not leaving yourself with 1 at the end of the game. That said, I've seen people do it and win. So we'll see. All right. If you're feeling confident, we could get through, I think, at least a round.
Yeah. And so we can start, and then you can just we can go from there. So
all right. So go ahead and grab your cards back, and you'll place them face down in front of locations.
They almost all made it. Okay. Now I don't know what other any of them are. Or no, wait. I'm supposed to know. But you aren't.
Yes, exactly. So.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly seen people the first time they play just, do it randomly because like they don't know the strategy yet, and it's an interesting thing to do. Now I can see it though. Yeah, better bring it back in.
Yeah. I'm slowly learning.
No, it's cool. If you ever want to look at your card after you lay it down, you probably know this, but on Mac it's Option and Shift, but it's Alt and Shift on a PC. You can just hover over and do that, and you can see what's on the bottom of your card if you ever forgot. But if you do it to my cards, I'll see that you did it.
All right.
So we just both confirm we're ready, and then we flip our disc to go. And you place your first piece on any one of your locate grids.
Okay. And so since I covered that, now surveillance, now I get to, what do I get to do?
You draw a piece from your bag, and you're going to place it to the left of your board. I also earn surveillance, so I'm going to do the same thing.
Okay.
Yep, and that's going to be during the target phase. You'll get to place that right away. Okay, and so then
Awesome.
we flip back to ready. Okay, and go. And remember, you can play on any one of them. You don't the same one. I will play over here. Surveillance. I think you got surveillance. I will say, if you want to change rotation degrees to
If I want to change them, do what?
90 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know where to do that?
Honestly, I can't remember. I think you just right click it, right? And you can rotate it.
So if you go to the very top of your screen where the menu is, next to the guy lifting things up, and there's that number. If you click that number until it says 90, when you do your Q&E, it'll just it'll rotate it by 90 degrees, which is the only way this game works anyways.
Well, that's much easier.
Yes. All right, cool. Okay, I think we're...
So then we flip it back.
Yep, okay. And we go. All right. I'll do that. Surveillance. Okay. Ready? Go. Finish that in one. So, yeah, here. Okay. Surveillance.
Okay.
Okay, go. So I am going to search my first location because I finished you off over here, and I'll flip, and you are not there.
So I can put that one right there, and now I can search this one, right? Because
you got it.
He's blocked off, and you're not there. Okay.
All right. Moving on. Okay. Jeez. Yeah, I'll take my chance. Nothing. All right. And go.
Okay.
I think I'm going to... So this is isolated. I'm going to search 3. Nope. Oh, okay. Round 1.
I found you.
All right.
So
yeah.
Pick number 2.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, well, I got to take number 1 off.
Yeah. Kept him on there as the example. I'll move the target too. Yeah.
I think it was locked too, so I got to take that off. Okay. So I'll put number 2 on there. Then I will lock it so I don't mess with it. Needs 2 innocents, so I'll put my innocents on there. And then I'm allowed to add my stuff immediately, right?
Yep, everything over there in any order, all part of the same turn, correct.
But it's not my turn yet, right? I gotta flip this again.
Oh no, you said it is part of the same turn. When you find me, you immediately get to place your surveillance. So.
Oh, okay.
So in turn-based, kind of pauses. I let you do your thing until it's done, and real time, you'd be on the clock, and I'd get to keep looking for you. So yeah, that's where the difference.
Okay.
Right? And when you earn that, you get it right away. So you get to pull a piece from your bag and put it below, and you can exchange.
Okay. I get to pull a piece and put it below. Got it.
Yep. All right. And then you flip back to ready when you're ready. And so now you can see that I got to hurry up and find you. Now you're going to be on the easier map, and I'm surveillance, so I might still be able to get you, but the race is on.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's going to have to be 3 surveillance.
Okay.
All right. Ready.
And so now we're going again.
Yep. can always flip them, rotate them any way you want. Play.
There we go.
Okay. Cool. And go. So I am going to find you on this turn. So you take your turn, and I'll be over here placing my surveillance until I'm all set, and we'll see how it works.
Okay. So I've got one innocent isolated now. And so for this other innocent, does he just have to be, he has to be completely blocked off, right?
Yeah,
or do I just need the...
Yeah, so he has to be blocked off from the border. So you got an open space here,
Yeah,
and an open space there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take care of it. Otherwise, this guy's just got to be trapped within there. So you're close. Really quick, my character's power, I picked Gunhead, which is probably my favorite art of the game from the artist there. It's pretty cool. But his power is, so normally you have to cover these. I can anytime just activate all my powers. So I'm the only one that can maybe use my powers twice if I want to.
Yeah.
So I will go ahead and take that move, and I will see if there's anything you might want. And I think I'm going to grab that purple from you using my power.
Okay.
And then let's see that. Come on, thing. Okay, gotta get moving. Do that. And okay, ready when you are. I'm not sure if you were. Don't forget, you have to take the leftmost piece when you're playing.
Yeah.
I just see the gap in the middle. I wasn't sure. Okay.
You took that piece right here. It was a purple.
Oh, I took it from you. Yes.
So I only start with 2 pieces, right?
No, you can reset. Yeah, whenever I do that, you can refill your line of sight. Your line of sight should basically always be 3.
Oh, okay. All right.
Let's
do this.
So I have an innocent isolated, and I am super close. Let's see if you can get there before me.
Okay, I just gotta get one more.
It has to be connected orthogonally, so it has to have a. You can still, I think you can still get it done, but.
I can do that. There we go.
Okay. All right, and ready, and go. So I was able to get you, unless I'm looking at your board and seeing if there's anything that can be done here. I don't think there is. So I did just able to get you there. So I got the innocent isolated. I placed the bullet, and then this is one of the cooler parts about the mod. If you just kind of like just focus on the gun here for a minute, I put the little trigger in game, and it sends a bullet over. And it automatically resets. And as you see, now I'm missing number 2. And now you have adrenaline. And so really quick, you have this extra power only during the target phase. Or I think actually it might be, no, you just have this power. But the adrenaline token, instead of placing a piece at any point, if you want, you can place this adrenaline token, and it can go anywhere on a map. So that's a big advantage.
And so one of your squares didn't disappear.
It did, because it actually is on your side. My hiding spots are where you're looking. So now I have one less space to hide.
Okay.
Yep.
So I still get to keep all 3?
What's that?
I still get to keep all 3?
Yeah, you get to keep all 3. You still have all 3 of your cards. One of my missed cards goes away, and I only have 2 locations.
Okay.
Probably time for another round, right?
Oh yeah, we can do a whole one if you want. Okay.
Okay.
Let me get this off of here real quick.
Yeah, because I won't be there. You know that much.
Yeah, and so now my adrenaline is active, right?
Yep. The adrenaline is active.
So I can treat my focus. You can treat all focus on your location grids as if they were in the exchange. Okay. All right.
I think I'm realizing I know I have to update. Should be in the target phase, because otherwise it gets really messy in the locate phase. I just haven't updated that card yet. So when you're in the target phase, that's
once we're in the target phase. Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. Well, then I'm ready.
In general, that's how all adrenaline powers work.
All
Okay.
right.
And go. Think here, get surveillance. And go. Surveillance. Okay.
Okay.
Not a piece. Surveillance.
All right. Ready?
Okay. Yep.
All right. So you're isolated on this one, and you're not there. Okay.
Go.
Okay.
Surveillance. You got all your surveillance. All right. Do that. Oops. Surveillance.
And you said the adrenaline token's only used for on the scoping part, right?
No, this one is available anytime. So if you did want to use it, you could instead of your normal turn, or you could save it for the scope board if it helps.
Okay.
It looks like you'll be able to cut it off of this anyway, so you probably want to save it.
Yeah. So flip.
Okay, I'm ready. All right, I'm going to search 3. Ooh, no, okay.
I found you.
Thought maybe I scared you into a hard look.
So now you're in location 1.
Yep, trying to get my win there if I can.
Okay. And then we'll put the little meeple person on here. And then I will get to activate all of these. And then I get to pull one to the exchange, correct?
Yep. Correct.
And then I can put the adrenaline down if I want, or no?
That's it has to be your turn. That is your turn if you want to do that. But yes, on one of your turns. And also remind you with your power, instead of placing your next piece, you can always just pick a piece off of here instead and put on.
Awesome. All right.
You don't have to hit it or anything. Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. All right. I'll grab my last surveillance wherever I find you. If I can find you in time.
Okay.
Okay. All right, go. Okay, I gotta take my chance. Hoping it's 2. It is. Okay. Rush in here. Knock it down and said got 2 innocents to deal with.
Okay. And then I still need to block off the innocent from the bottom part, right?
Yep, and the primary target within the kill box.
I forgot a little token. Okay.
Okay, so all right, I'm gonna get everything down up here. Oops, come on, guys, stay on there. Do that. I can earn this, so I'm actually just going to be smart about it. I did earn my exchange, though. Let me get that. Whew. Okay.
All right. So I was watching you put them all down. Okay.
Yep.
So flip it again.
Yep.
Okay. This time I'm going to be putting down my adrenaline token as my turn to block off that innocent.
Okay. And
Okay.
then I'm ready.
All right, me too. And so I will put this one down. I will move this, and you are now isolated.
And I got you on the same turn. So the way we'll do that, yeah, go ahead and and right, and because your bullet can cover right over. So good use of Jane there. I'm just trying to see if was this your last play right here?
Yes.
So I'm just going to show you something really quick.
Okay.
If you had used your move to move this piece, you could have got me on last turn and went straight
Okay.
up.
Because it's a
Does that
bonus,
make
and I
sense?
can use the bonus on that turn.
Anytime. Yep. Anytime. But
Okay.
double kill. So I'll let you pull the trigger first. On the left side of your screen, you'll see that red crosshair. Go ahead and click that. All right. And then what we do just to make the scripting work is I just put you back. Or no, I'm sorry. I put myself back where I was hiding, which was on 1. And then I pull the trigger. All right.
Okay.
And so what happens when there's a double kill is we both, I haven't talked about tactical advantage yet, but oh, come on. There we go. We both get adrenaline. We both get tactical advantage. So I will talk you through that. So tactical advantage, what this does, you get it the round after you win. You can flip it anytime to rearrange your line of sight. Just put them in any order you want. So you have that. A quick warning, my adrenaline power, when you use a bonus, I get to draw a piece and play right away. So it kind of disincentivizes you from using your bonuses. Really good. Wow.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, you'll know where I am, but you still have to find me there.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Okay. Game on.
Let me take this board off here. Go. Okay. So let we go. All right.
Balance. Okay. Go. And go. Problem. Yeah. Surveillance.
Okay. So I've located you in block 3.
Okay. Good old TTF.
Okay, so let's get my little innocents on there. 3 of them. So now you're in the hardest spot.
Yep.
Okay. So I fell over here. There we go. And then I am able to put down my surveillance right away. And so we'll start putting that down. Okay.
All right. And you earn the exchange when needed.
That's right. I earned that.
Yeah. Okay. You get to pull it right from your bag and put it underneath. So yeah. And of course, you can always exchange with these. Okay. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
And go. I'm going to earn surveillance and search 1. And okay. All right. You're taking your chances trying to leave yourself with 3 for a chance, right? No, that's good. That's the play. It's just going to be hard. All right. Let's down here. So that and get my move. All gray to start with, which is not the best, but yeah. All right. Ready?
Okay. Yep. All right.
Yep. Let's use that on my concentrates.
Okay.
So you can do that. You just have to use your concentrate bonus to do it. Because
That's right. And so you get to activate something now, right?
yes. So when you do that, I get to draw a focus, and if it helps me, I get to shit those. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Ready? Go. That will open up my exchange. And oh, we're going. Yep. Okay.
Okay. Then with my turn.
I think I gotcha. Yep.
Oh,
That was a
you
tough one,
did.
man. Three versus one is hard. It's really tough, but yeah. So I gotcha, and then I click it.
Okay.
And that's okay. No, we didn't do bad. That's the game. Really quick. I kind of I explained before that the difference with a real time is just instead of waiting on me, you'd flip this timer, and when it's up and you placed your piece, you could take your next turn. That's really the only difference with the quick draw mode. One of the other things that I'm going to be doing Kickstarter to or the Kickstarter version based on what you'll see in the previews is we're hopefully going to get new art for these, but whatever else, there will be a maps 4, 5, and 6. And a couple things that does, they add these little blocks. They'll also be, so for example, this is a map 4, right? They'll all have 3 innocents on them, and they'll also have these little blocks that can only be covered by certain colors, right? So that can only be covered by purple. This can only be covered by gray. And so that, adds a tougher puzzle for people who played the game a lot, but it also allows for handicapping. So, like, for example, I'm just like always beating you at this game. I could be hiding at maps 1, 2, and 3 on your side, and on I would have to find you on maps 4, 5, and 6, or 2, 3, and 4, or whatever. There's a lot of ability to kind of variate that up. Plus, the 4, 5, and 6, with each of them having 3 innocents, the differences are more incremental with these like cover blocks as opposed to like the number of innocents. So you don't. While I like that kind of like you have to win on one at some point thing, if you get tired of that, you'll have the option of playing on maps that are much closer if you want.
Okay. Okay. All right. Just 1 second. We're back on the
okay. I'll swing back.
The interview page now. So what they got to see just now is they saw us play a whole game. It didn't take very long, honestly. Once you started explaining the rules and while playing through, we were able to catch on pretty quick. And from what I can see is that this is one of those games that you could take to game night. It's pretty easy to teach somebody, and there's enough replayability in it, and that there's different characters and things like that. What does the future of Super Snipers look like when it comes to the project? Like after the project gets fulfilled, is there something that you'd ever want to come back to it, or are you ready to go towards your next game? Like you don't want to overdo them.
No, well, thank you for asking that. I mean, 2 answers to that. One, I am really looking forward to working on some of my other designs. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Because preparing for a Kickstarter just eats up all your much. So I will look forward to that. I do have more ideas. Both things that I'm looking to release during the Kickstarter in terms of more characters. But I've started work on developing a semi-legacy campaign mode for this.
Okay.
It would best with solo, but I want to make it so that another player can always jump in and play the role of the other person, and so kind of have a storyline. Like you're playing Jane, and there's her backstory, and your first matchup is versus Gunhead, and if you win, you go to this page, and if you lose, you go to this page, and it starts out, kind of with the normal game, but then introduces variants along the way and introduces challenges and unlocks new, kind of components or alternate cards for characters you have or new characters. So I've got a lot of ideas. It's a bit too much for the first campaign, so I'm not going crazy for this one, but that's one of the things I do with the Super Snipers. I also have I've been for the last year playtesting a mode and perfecting it. It's not quite there, but I have a way you can play this 4 players if you have 2 copies of the game,
Yeah.
and also got a slightly different way to play the game called Blitz Mode, where instead of that, reset, do a race every time, I shoot you, but you keep going on the map that you've been building. So if you were 1 turn away, you're just 1 turn behind going into the next one. And so, I've got some different things going on like that I'll either be releasing just as extra play modes if it doesn't require any new stuff, and then kind of building towards the expansions for the things that do require new components.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you hopping on here. If you give me just a second, I'm gonna swap over to doing an outro real quick, and then I'll come back and hop on with you real quick. But if you guys are interested in the game, if you're interested in the Kickstarter, the description, I have the links for the pre-campaign page, Board Game Geek. He has done his homework. He has links for every single thing. There's also a Discord. I'll link that as well. Any other kind of plugs that you want to throw in real quick?
I think that'll do it. Love to have you on board. Love to hear from people, and happy to teach the game if you do want to jump in Discord.
Okay. All right. Give me just 1 second. Thank you, everybody, for joining the stream. If you like the content, please like, subscribe, and follow along for any future board game news. This game launches on October 18th, and we look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you.